At this time, I'd like to introduce and welcome Councilmember Place 4 candidates to the forum table. In alphabetical order, Mike Aycock, Adonis Frias, Eddie, and Linda Nash. Prior to the event, questions order was randomly selected. The order will be number 1, Mike Aycock, number 2, Adonis Frias, Eddie, and number 3, Linda Nash. For the first opening, each candidate will have 1 minute introduction and time to share why they are running for council member place 4. At this time, Mr. Mike Aycock. Again, 1 minute introduction and why you are running for council member place 4.
Thank you. Those of you that don't know me, I've been here forever. Most of you do. The ones that don't know me, I'm Mike Aycock. I've had a business in the Harker Heights area for 47 years. My family came to Bell County in the 1880s, and we have helped and build this city ever since then. My aunt's father was P.R. Cox, so I've been here and seen Harker Heights from the very beginning. And one thing is that I was a city council member and mayor. And that period of time was from 2004 to 2014. And during that time, Harker Heights experienced the largest and fastest growth rate it's ever experienced. And we had, when I first came in, we had Sam's, we had...
Time. Thank you. Adonis Frias, Eddie, 1 minute.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Adonis Frias, running for place 4. And I got here about 11 years ago. IPCS from Fort Drum, New York. My last duty station was here in Fort Hood. Tessa was a 19th Delta Cap Scout, 3rd Cavalry Regiment. And my family and I, we decided to stay here because the great community that it is. And that's something that we want to continue working on. We got business in the area, in the north side, on the north side of the community. That's something that we are focusing and develop and growing. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Nash, 1 minute.
I am Councilwoman Linda Nash, place 4 in the city of Harker Heights, Texas. I'm not here today to try to convince you to vote for me, but rather to reassure you that the over 4,500 votes cast by you in favor of me in November of 2020's election, that you helped to elect an asset to our community, not a liability. I serve on the board of directors of the newly established Harker Heights Arts Council and the Hill Country Transit Authority. Along with my fellow council members, we approved budgets that allowed us to not only swiftly restore our infrastructure after Winter Storm Uri, but provided advanced technology to our first responders, while continuing to provide quality drinking water and sewage services. My support to pass HB 1613 is unwavering because when our city will be able to be reimbursed for the state's unfunded mandate granted to 100% disabled veterans. And lastly, I continue to be a voice for all residents of Harker Heights, regardless of race, gender, economic background, or political affiliation. I am Linda Nash, and I have been and will help, with your help, I will continue to be Councilwoman Place 4 for the city of Harker Heights.
Thank you. At this time, candidates will have 2 minutes each to answer questions. First question, in your opinion, what are the stress points in the Harker Heights economy that need to be addressed immediately, and how do you plan on tackling those issues? First up, Mr. Mike Aycock.
Thank you. Well, one of the things is the disabled vets exemption, and hopefully Hugh Shine with House Bill 1613 will help eliminate that. Hopefully it'll go through. Once that happens, it should bring around $3 million back into our coffers. With that money, we can do several things and make us whole. One of our biggest parts that we need to deal with is street improvement. With the last winter storm, streets have deteriorated, and that's always been, even when I was on the council, that was a big thing. When I came on the council, the very first thing, the street improvement budget was $100,000, and that didn't make it. First year, I raised it to $300,000, and then it doubled every year after that when I was on the council. That's the kind of thing we need to do now. That and the inability for us to annex property has hindered our growth, so we need to look more inward to see how we can develop density in our city and help with sales tax. You know, part of the growth along 2410 on the corridor will be commercial growth that will help enhance our sales tax revenues. That's what's been kind of boosting us up since the DV exemptions hit. Once we get that money from House Bill 1613, hopefully, it'll make us whole, and we can look forward into things that we need to look, that we couldn't look to in the last 2-3 years, since that bill was the DV exemptions came into effect.
Time. Thank you. Mr. Adonis Frias Eddy?
Yes, sir. Like Mr. Say, we are losing about $3.2 million on veteran session taxes every year, helping out, of course, our veterans, 100% veterans. And that's something that we need to get it. I know hopefully we're gonna get it back on Senate Bill 748. And the other thing is that we need to work on incentive business to come to the area and get those tax that they will gonna help with the budgets for the community. Our roads, of course, sidewalk. There's a lot of complaint about sidewalk, but I know the city is working hard to working on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Linda Nash?
Well, as the two before me, we all know, have said, we all are very aware about the more than $3.1 million that we lose out from the property tax exemption for our 100% disabled vets. But we can't just wait until that's done, because the fight has been going on for quite a while. So we have to look at other avenues for us to be able to generate revenue for our city. We already have a music designation. Harker Heights has been designated that by the governor. Not sure if all of you know that. But I'm on the Arts Council, and I also believe that we should receive a designation for us being an art city. That way it brings in other people, and it shows that we're a cultural community. Also on the north side of Harker Heights, we are looking into doing development, economic development on there, on that particular side of town. Habitat for Humanity have built several homes over there and plan to build more. So for home ownership, for first-time home buyers, we need to look at new and innovative ways that we can be able to bring in revenue to our city and not just wait until this bill is passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Second question, again, 2 minutes each. What do you see as the largest threat to the quality of life in our city, and why? First up, Mr. Mike Aycock.
Is the largest threat to quality of life in our city? Is that what the question was?
What do you see as the largest threat to the quality of life in our city, and why?
Well, one thing is that our revenue source, we have to get a revenue source up to be able to enhance our parks and increase quality of life in the city. It takes money to do that. You can't do a whole lot of things without spending money. We need to get those funds in place. I know we're talking about House Bill 1613, but if we can't get that, House Bill 1613, there's other things we need to get, maybe sales tax revenues. There's different ways we can get funding. But right now, with what's going on now, all we're doing is keeping the city operating. It's hard to budget things like parks and recreational type venues without money. So that's the thing that we need to look at. That's the thing that threatens us most is revenue for its quality of life.
Thank you. Mr. Adonis Frias, Eddie?
Yes, sir. Like I said before, the veterans exception, 3.2 million, that's something that we waiting for. The businesses, we need to focus on incentive business to come to the area and get those taxes and get the business in the area. That help a lot. I know that the City of Harker High is working on the DMV, new motor vehicle office here in the area that is going to work good for the community. Hope they do have an office for commercial vehicle because they are good for the community, for the DMV. The other thing is outside revenue is something that is affecting a lot. Let's go on the road and sidewalk and stuff like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Linda Nash, 2 minutes.
Can you read the question again?
Yes, ma'am. What do you see as the largest threat to the quality of life in our city and why?
I believe the largest threat to our city is public transportation. I sit on the board of the Hill Country Transit Authority, and we have such low ridership in this area, but we need the public transportation. For people who need it, it needs to be in place. We are working on an idea or a concept of micro-transit, where we'll be able to use something that's similar to Lyft and Uber in order to pick residents up and take them where they need to be. Currently, the public transportation, the route that it goes is in a loop rotation, which means it takes you about an hour from one destination over to another. So if you're trying to get to the hospital, to work, to go grocery shopping, those things there, it's gonna take you an hour to get there and more than an hour to come back. Our quality of our water is great. However, our city is growing, and we have just, we are in the process of improving our water system that we have to make sure that we have fewer boil water notices. And so when you go to the tap and you get some water, that you know that it's clean and that it's safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Third and final question. What are the most important city issues that our budget should be allocating dollars towards? First up, Mr. Mike Aycock, 2 minutes.
Well, like I said, it's always problematic with streets and drainage. I mean, cities need to first focus, has always been a focus of the very essentials what you need to deal with. That's your infrastructure, your fire, and your police. Anything else above that is kind of extra money, is the extra dollars that we need to spend things on. But right now, what has always been a problem is fixing our streets. And that's a big budget problem. And we do not want to borrow money to do that. We have to pay as we go. And you never borrow money to do road repairs. Road repairs, by the time you pay it off, they're ready to repair again. When I was on the council, we developed the drainage criteria manual. I was the one that led that process. And that was a process that actually made our roads greater. And back in the day, there was very little requirement for roads, streets, and drainage. That manual that we created changed things drastically. It made the roads last longer, and we need to continue that. And that drainage manual needs to be upgraded a little bit more to keep roads from failing. But I was a big part of that. Other than that, that's the biggest one thing that I can think of that we need to fix or work on is roads and drainage. Because it'll start raining, it'll come. And it doesn't seem like it now, but it will. When it does, we'll have problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Adonis Frias, Eddie?
Like he said, we need to continue working on the drainage, water, roads, sidewalk, but we need to work on our police department, our fire department, that we need a new fireplace in, we got a lot in close to the lake. That we need to build a new station for the fire department. That's something that we have to work on. The safety of the security of the community, investing on our police and fire department, that's a big thing too for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Linda Nash?
Can you read the question again?
Yes, ma'am. What are the most important city issues that our budget should be allocating dollars towards?
I think the most important issue that when we start working on our budget this year is to ensure that our first responders have the most up-to-date equipment that they need, for us to put money aside to continue our endeavors to build Fire Station number 3 because of our rapid growth in this city. And I also think that in there, besides all of the other things that we stay on top of, community relations. A program that community members, they can come into the city council meetings whenever they want, but a lot of people don't understand the procedure, and so we have a lot of residents that get disgruntled about how things go. But something where we can be able to show our citizens the procedures, and they can come in to be able to talk. They are always welcome to come into our offices and talk to the staff about any issues that they have. They're very accommodating. But I think that that's something that we should probably work on because we do a fairly decent job with everything else.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, each candidate will have 1 minute for a closing statement. We will now reverse, beginning with the candidate that drew number 3 first. 1 minute, Ms. Linda Nash.
Well, I've given you my introduction so you know who I am. Outside in the front, I have a QR code, so if you want to know more information about my background, my military experience, and other things that I do within the community, you'll be able to do that. But I'd like to take this time to thank our staff of Harker Heights because our staff, they give us so much information and they help us with any questions that we may have. And it's evident by how many people are running for these offices that our staff make us look good. But it's really the staff and their knowledge and what it is that they do. We continue to hire quality personnel, and that is a perfect recipe for running a great city. And I just would ask for you for your vote and to really consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Adonis Frias, Eddie?
When I got here, IPCS from Fort Drum here, and I decided to ETS from the Army. My family and I, we decided to stay in Harker High because we saw the great communities for our family. I got 17 years old and 16 years old, special needs child, and we saw the potential for our family, growing our kids in the community. That's something that we need to work and continue working hard to maintain the safety and health of our community. I go to work and I take care of my business. My kids, they go to school, and I don't have to worry about drugs. I don't have to worry about shooting and any of that. Even in my house, we receive a lot of, like about 15 families from the East Coast, from the Dominican Republic, in different areas. They now here stable. They buying house. Some of them, they got business, and they love the area. They even have more family coming to the community. That's something that we need to continue working. We need to work on our police, our fire department. We need to work on the budgets to make sure they continue maintaining the community of our city, better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mike Aycock?
Yes. What I do, the reason I'm running for this office is that I bring the experience and expertise that comes with me. When I was on the council, from 04 to 14, it was the largest growth time during our city's history. And we had, like I was going to say, we had Sam's, we had Walmart, we had Market Heights, we had the hospital. All these things happened during that time. We negotiated our ETJ, which took a long time, and Ed can vouch for that. That's what I bring. There's things that I know about Harker Heights that the staff doesn't know. I've been here so long. And when we did, we built the police station, the library, I was charged with looking over the design and the construction of it, and I saved probably around $2 million on that.
Time. Thank you. And that concludes our questions for Councilmember Place 4 candidates. Appreciate your candidacy. Thank you.
Good afternoon. At this time, we'd like to call candidates for Councilmember Place 2 in alphabetical order: Shane Hodiak, Hal Schiffman, and Stacy Wilson. As a reminder, each candidate has 1 minute introduction to share why they're running for Councilmember Place 2. We'll begin with candidate who drew number 1, which is Stacy Wilson.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you for the opportunity from the chamber. My name is Stacy Wilson. I come from a small town in Steubenville, Ohio. It's a steel mill town. I'm the daughter of a police officer and a self-employed mother. I have been a military spouse for 31 years. I have 2 sons, and I am here. I've had previous experience working on Fort Hood as self-employed, working with DOD civilians, working with the military families that came in contact with the chapel. I am a concerned citizen. I bring a unique set of experiences to our community. I am here running deeply because I think I can be the voice for the people, and I'm not here for anyone's special interest. I wasn't appointed by anyone's special interest. I'm here for the people's interest. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. The candidate who drew number 2, Shane Hodiak.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity for us to share our message with the community this morning. My name is Shane Hodiak. I'm running for Harker Heights City Council Place 2, and we're running for a safer community to work, live, and retire within. So go to shaneforheights.com, in which I blog daily on how we're going to conduct that. Thank you.
And finally, candidate Hal Schiffman.
When I came to Central Texas 30 years ago as Killeen Mall General Manager, I met 3 people: Stu Meyer, Steve Carpenter, and Mike Gentry. Dynamic leaders, all of them, and giants in our community to this day. The reason most of us live in Harker Heights today is because of these men and the quality of life that they created. In order for us to progress, we must know our history. And the history that those men created and the quality of life that exists today is what I represent to this community. I will work collaboratively with fellow council members to maintain property values through qualitative residential and commercial growth, support increased commercial activity, support continued improvement in city amenities, support continued conservative fiscal responsibility, and promote informed quality of life policy making.
Thank you. Candidates will now have 2 minutes to answer each question. Official time will begin after each question is read. Stacy Wilson, what economic development plans or recommendations do you have for the city?
First of all, a concern that I have will be infrastructure. I would like to improve infrastructure in the city by putting together initiatives that would address the needs, for example, water, our sewer system, and high-speed internet, putting those provisions in place so that we can develop as far as economics. I also feel like we have an area that we need to be concerned with as far as safety. Safety is important. We should have preventative safety measures by advocating for more sidewalks, street lights, neighborhood speed enforcement, and allowing our officers to work smarter, as well as ensure our first responders have what they need to decrease violent and personal property crimes. We should be looking for ways to increase the pay of our first responders. They are, so that they don't have to look outside of this community. They are a very vital part to our Harker Heights community. They mean the world. We want to keep them. It's important that we do provisions to keep them with us. They bring quality to our city, and this should be a priority, and those are concerns that I will have for the economic.
Thank you. Shane Hodiak, same question.
Yes, sir. So, again, running on the platform of a safer community to work, live, and retire within, there's no doubt that our law enforcement and our fire and first responders as a collective unit are running awfully thin here in Harker Heights. In some areas of the community, it takes over 12 minutes for an ambulance to respond. So when we're talking about a safer community, of course, we're going to first start with saving lives. That is a concern that I have. But safety goes beyond our first responders. It also talks about connectivity of the city, for our pedestrians to safely walk and be able to visit the public services that Harker Heights has to offer, and also the businesses that are essential to their life. Also, we need to also discuss the concerns about cybersecurity. As a contract manager with the Texas Department of Information Resources, I understand the importance of cybersecurity and the threats that that poses on a governmental entity. So that is an area of public safety that we need to be concerned about as a city. And so these are the three main areas that I wish to focus on when we talk about concerns of public safety. Thank you.
I'm going to need that question again.
What economic development plans or recommendations do you have for the city?
Thank you. Economic development does not occur at the schedule of the city. It occurs at the schedule of the prospects for economic development. The way a city creates the environment for economic development is to have a business-friendly and receptive staff, a supportive staff, and not to reiterate my first comment, quality of life, because people who are going to bring their businesses to our community are looking at school systems, looking at quality of life, looking at city amenities, but first and foremost, their first contact is with city staff. And our city staff is one of the most business-friendly city staffs in Central Texas. And I can only point to one of our most recent economic development achievements, a rehabilitation hospital, who will tell you that one of the main reasons why they came to Harker Heights was because we were the best they met. We were the most helpful, the most supportive, the most encouraging, and that is how we attract businesses to our community, because a business is not going to come here until they are ready. But when they are ready, they are not just looking at us, they are looking everywhere. And we have to give them something more to see, something more to encourage them to want to be here. And with the city staff that exists in Public Works and all of the supportive agencies, we are doing an excellent job. We can point to past successes, we can point to recent successes, and we will see future successes. But remember, businesses have many options, of which we are merely one.
Thank you. A little bit of a lengthy question. Define in your own words diversity. Is diversity necessary for a city council? And if so, what characteristics do you believe our council currently lacks and needs to achieve diversity? Stacy Wilson.
Can you repeat that last part of that?
Yes. Is diversity necessary for city council? And if so, what characteristics do you believe our council lacks or needs to achieve diversity?
Yes, diversity is very necessary because we are in a times of a melting pot. We have a diversity city, and I think when you bring diversity to the table, diversity, it gives a variety, it gives a variety of experience. Sometimes certain people cannot advocate for a race of people that don't understand them. So if you bring a variety to the table, you get a variety of decision-making within a city that belongs to the entire city, not just one side or a certain group. We should be mindful of that. And characteristics are important because when you come together, you should have professionalism, you should have knowledge, and it is a great experience to me when you come to the table to learn more about the city. So if we bring in people with diversity, culturals, or people who know a variety of things, we can merge together and become a greater city. We are already a great city, but if you bring a variety who can bring a variety of decisions, then you bring a whole complete package of what Harker Heights is. We are a melting pot, times are changing. We are in a military city, and we should be mindful of those who are citizens and respect all cultures of the city.
Thank you. Shane Hodiak.
Yes, I absolutely do believe that diversity is essential, diversity of thought, diversity of background, diversity of experience. But it is, I believe your question ended with, what does the city council lack in diversity? I mean, that's the people's choice, so I'm going to start there. The people elect the city council, so that is their decision to determine what that diversity looks like there on the city council. So what's wrong with the diversity that is currently sitting on the city council? I would say that the people made their choice, and it's reflected there in the city council currently. I see no current problem with that. However, we do look forward to bringing diversity to this race. I think that you see that with our different backgrounds here. As Ms. Wilson pointed out, we are a military community. I believe it's important to have a military veteran's perspective when making these types of decisions that affect our military community here. I myself am a military veteran. I believe the average age of Harker Heights currently sits at 34 and a half. It would be nice to see someone sitting on the city council that represents the largest average age demographic here in the city, which currently doesn't sit on the city. I'm a candidate that represents both those opportunities for diversity.
Thank you. Hal Schiffman, same question.
Well, diversity translates to equity. And equity is that everybody has the opportunity to participate. And that's what elections are for, that's what campaigns are for. Equity to me means the most qualified person, the most capable person will be the selection, but everybody has an opportunity to participate. That is equitable.
Thank you. Final question. What is your vision in maintaining and developing Harker Heights' share of I-14 and the Veterans Memorial Boulevard?
Say that one more time.
Yes. What is your vision in maintaining and developing Harker Heights' share of I-14 and Veterans Memorial Boulevard?
Well, going back to infrastructure is important. If we want to draw in economic development, we have to be concerned with our infrastructure. We have to be prepared. If those are going to come, investors choose to invest in our great city, we have to have our roads ready. We have to be able to handle the traffic, the congestion. We have to make sure our roads will be safe. We have to worry about our water, our sewer system, just a variety of things that we want to be prepared. But infrastructure is very important. If we bring in bigger companies and investors, we have to be prepared for the traffic, the growth of the city. We have to be able to do that. And so to me, budgeting to expand those roads are important. We need to look for a future of expanding I-14 and as well as Veterans Memorial. Those areas need to have special attention. I know that Veterans Memorial has been neglected for many years, and I think it should be a priority because many citizens live within those areas, and we should be concerned with those areas. And of course, I-14 being a main road, when we bring in more economic development and more investors, we should be prepared to be expanded and be ready when we grow as a city.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, are we expanding this question to Veterans Memorial or just I-14? Because I have
It's
some more on that as
I-14
well.
and Veterans Memorial.
It's both, okay. All right, so very good. First and foremost, those two roads need to work for the people that currently live here. We need to be careful when we talk about growing and expanding and bringing in this business and that business of pricing people out. You're going to see this has occurred in the northern part of Austin. Gentrification is not something I wish to see here in Austin, or in Harker Heights. However, we do need to bring services that best suit the citizens that currently live there. And so it is important to look at what those services are, what's being asked for. Infrastructure, as we spoke on the very first question, is essential to bringing in new business to our community. However, the types of businesses that move into those areas are just as essential. And we need to ensure that those types of businesses that are within that area are best serving the people that currently live there. So again, not an advocate for gentrification. I'm an advocate for bringing businesses that best serve the citizens that currently live in that area. And Veterans Memorial is a perfect example of that. So we need to look at opportunities to best serve the citizens by offering opportunities to bring in good businesses that serve them. And that would be my focus.
Thank you.
Well, first, veterans. The only way veterans is going to be developed is with an overlay, which is a development concept of codes and standards, and with a special tax incentive district created to incentivize businesses to go there. We can look at infrastructure development as a collateral issue. That's what the overlay would do. But I mean, veterans is not going to develop unless it is given an incentive to develop. And the only way that businesses will relate to an incentive is how much money will they save by going there. Then we have to look at creating the demographics that will appeal to that business or those businesses to support whatever industrial or tax incentive zone is created. As far as I-14, much of that work has already occurred. We see turnarounds that exist. The way I-14 develops will be determined by the zoning on I-14 and the businesses that deem it advantageous to them to be there. The way we facilitate the future development of I-14 is to aggressively continue to lobby and fight in K-Tempo for available funds, because those roads are not Harker Heights' to manage. But we can fight for K-Tempo funds to further develop roads, bridges, accesses, to further facilitate the movement of traffic. And our greatest challenge right now is moving traffic from north to south between I-14 and Veterans. Those are the arteries that have to be looked at very, very critically, because we are underserved at this point.
Thank you. At this time, each candidate has 1 minute for a closing statement. We'll now reverse, beginning with the candidate that drew number 3, Hal Schiffman.
I wish I could count backwards. I offer you experience. I offer you consistency. I offer you collaboration on the council. I offer you predictability. I have a history of constructive contribution to our community with prior terms on the city council and a general business background and a presence in the city of extensive community service boards, foundations, or organizations. So I have an investment in this community that perhaps is unequaled. I mean, I will be here and I would love to give you 1 more year, which is the unexpired term of Mr. Bloomquist. And with my prior experience, you'll get your $80 worth day 1, because I don't need to be trained.
Thank you.
All right.
Shane Hodiak.
Again, thank you, moderator, for the great questions today, and thank you all for coming out. Again, my name is Shane Hodiak, and I'm running for Harker Heights City Council Place 2. And what I bring to the table, we are a military community. I'm the only candidate running on this ticket that has military experience. I am a police veteran running to make your community a safe place to live, work, and retire within. I've served 4 years on the Public Safety Commission to that means. I have devoted my time and volunteered here in the city for a safer community. And again, I will continue to do so as your council member. I ask for your vote, ShaneForHeights.com, in which I blog and communicate daily with our community. Let's see if our values align. Thank you.
Thank you. And Stacy Wilson.
I am Stacy Wilson, candidate for Harker Heights City Council, Place 2. Vote for me if you want to take the community forward, not backwards. Vote for me if you believe we are stronger together. Vote for me if you want your voice to be heard and your voice to count. Let me, Stacy Wilson, be that voice that represents you. And I also highly encourage more citizens to get engaged with the City Council. Learn more what it takes to manage the city. Many people don't know what it takes to manage the city, but if you get engaged with the city, you can learn more about it and understand the process. And I also highly encourage the younger generations to get more involved with the city, to run for City Council. They are the future. We should welcome them with open arms, and we should welcome a variety of citizens, because this city also belongs to the citizens, not just a few select. So once again, vote for me to be the voice of Harker Heights.
Thank you. This concludes our time.
All right, well, good afternoon, and I have the pleasure of introducing our mayor candidates for today. In alphabetical order, as before, Mr. Michael Blomquist, Ms. Jacqueline Soriano Fontaine, and then Mr. David Jones, please. All right, welcome. We'll go ahead and get started. Each candidate will have 1 minute, like previously, for introductions and to share why you are running for mayor of Harker Heights. We will begin with the drawings that were done earlier. So, Mr. Jones, I defer to you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. David Jones. I'm a former soldier. I'm a father of 12. I served 21 years in the military. And I've been here off and on since 1977. So, what makes one want to jump in the river? Sometimes when we are looking at things and we're asking ourselves, well, why did this happen, or why did that happen? And I found out when I asked those questions that if you wanted to know the answer, you had to join.
It's time, sir. All right, Ms. Fontaine.
Good afternoon. It's truly an honor to be here today. Thank you, Chamber, for having us here today to be able to share our story and to say why we should be selected to be the next mayor, the next city council person. Personally, I had an opportunity to serve 2 consecutive terms with the city, came out in May of last year, and I had a privilege to work with the Bright Shining Star of Central Texas. That's our staff. They're the ones that really make it happen for us. And we are here to guide and to support and to represent all the residents that are here in the city of Harker Heights. And so having that privilege and having that relationship with our staff has enabled me to see what it is that we're really here to do. And we're really here to keep our city safe. We're here to ensure that our children are taken care of. We're sure that our police force has the things that they need in order for them to keep us safe.
That's time.
Thank you.
Mr. Blomquist.
Thank you. My name is Michael Blomquist, and I'm running to be the next Harker Heights mayor. I'm honored to sit here before you today as a two-term council member that was elected by the people here to represent you in this community. And this is, you know, I love Harker Heights. Many of you know I have a huge passion for our city and what we do here. I'm very active on the council. If you've ever come to a council meeting, you get the opportunity to hear me speak, usually at least once or twice. But I'm very passionate. Like I said, I did 22 years in the military. I graduated from West Point. I started off as a cav trooper, also a paratrooper. I flew helicopters for the Army. I was also acquisition Army. I retired as a lieutenant colonel. I look forward to continuing on to be your next mayor and taking on the challenges to keeping our city safe for everyone, working with our elected officials to get the veterans tax exemption fixed, and also to address some of the needing concerns that we have with the rapid population growth across our city. Thank you.
All right, candidate questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the following questions, and official time will begin once the question is read. I will go back to you, Dr. Jones, to begin. What are some of the challenges that the city is currently faced with, and how would you address them with the council, city manager, and the citizens?
The city is faced with, 1, population, 2, traffic and infrastructure, and those things which we've been working on, but it's not quite enough. A little tweak over here and a little tweak over there is what it needs. And if I say so, then I'm with the community in putting those things together. I can't do any job for the city of Harker Heights by myself. I need the entire city to stand up and stand with me to say, this is what we're going to do, and then we go do it. We have to check our budgets, check the various things, but we need to do it together.
Thank you. Mrs. Fontaine.
Yes, could you please repeat the question?
Absolutely. What are some of the challenges that the city is currently faced with, and how would you address them to the council, city manager, and citizens?
First and foremost, the biggest challenge that we have, as is expounded throughout the presentation of our previous city council positions, is the $3.2 million that we are not generating, but we are working on generating new revenue. And with that being said, we're going to have the opportunity to get our firehouse station number 3 built on 2410, because that is a concern for us as a city as a whole because of the response time that we have on the south side of the city. So we want to make sure that we get that rectified. And we want to make sure that we also fund our police force with the necessary tools that they need in order for them to combat crime in our city and make sure that we keep our city safe. So those are the things that I would work with our city. We have a really good grasp on what's going on in our city, had the opportunity to be on the council, so I know exactly what we're doing in order for us to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Blomquist, same question.
Thank you. The challenges before us, you know, we've heard it tonight, or today, this afternoon, numerous times about the veterans tax exemption. And we are working very closely with Senator Flores and Hugh Shine on that. We've got several council members that are going down currently. We have staff members actively engaged with those staff members from the Congress as well on addressing that and making sure. Our Representative Shine has 92 co-sponsors on his bill alone, which is looking very promising for us to getting that fixed. I would agree that is our number one concern, is to get that money, because that's money that's taken away from us, and we're not able to use it to spend on infrastructure improvements, to make our community safer, to hire more police officers, to build fire station number 3. That's money that we're having to operate without and function much, much leaner. It's a tribute to our staff and the council is also, part of that, but, it's not fair to the citizens to have to be able to function without that monies that's needed to improve our infrastructure. With that being said, I mentioned rising population. Last census data reported that we're looking at about a 19.2% increase in population based on census data. That's on par with Austin. So that's, we're a much smaller community, but we're growing that just as fast. So we need to be able to hire police officers in order to meet that growth. I see crime as a big problem in our city. It's growing. Unfortunately, we get a lot of bleed over from other communities surrounding us, but our police does an outstanding job in tackling this crime. But we need to make sure we're hiring more officers to meet that growing population. And again, I also agree, response times for fire station number 3 is a serious concern. So we need to build fire station number 3. We could definitely, more than likely, build it right now, but in order to maintain it, you're looking at probably about $1.5 million a year in order to fund it. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, our next question. What are your plans to lead the council and be the face of the city of Harker Heights? How will you use your leadership skills to engage with citizens and local businesses?
Can you read that again, please?
Sure, absolutely. What are your plans to lead the city council and to be the face of the city of Harker Heights? And the second part is, how will you use your leadership style to engage with citizens and local businesses?
First, with the council, I'm only one person. But there are each member of the council, and by working together, we can accomplish great things. Doesn't take a real rocket scientist to understand that putting this as a priority, or this as a priority, or this as a priority, working with each other, we set the standard. We set that standard based on what is coming to us from the community. The community says, I want to have this building over here. If that's feasible, we put that building over there. Working together, we accomplish great things. But if one person trying to say, I'm going to set your standard, no, that's not working. But as the council and the input from the city, from the residents of Harker Heights, we can do it great.
Thank you. Ms. Fontaine.
Could you go ahead and repeat the
Repeat
question?
it? Yes, sure. Oh, yeah, the longest one. What are your plans to lead the council and be the face of the city of Harker Heights? And how will you use your leadership style to engage with citizens and local businesses?
Well, my leadership style is one of active engagement, and so I like to be engaged with our staff, and we have a very good working rapport with the staff. So that to me is key to having a good relationship. And engaging the community, I do that locally. I engage the community in different venues and different organizations that I participate, so I'm constantly engaged with the community. Our current mayor has set a really good example for us, and he is engaged with the community, and that's something that I would like to follow through on, is continue what he has established, because he stays very busy with the community, and he's always out and about, and you could always, whatever we do, whether it's a retirement ceremony, he's there. And when I was on city council, it was a retirement ceremony, I was there with him. There's welcoming our new retirees into our community. That's something that we established in our city. There's no other city that welcomes the veterans, because me, myself, served close to 28 years, and I know how important it is to be received. And we do a really great job in receiving our community into our city. We want to continue to engage our residents. That is the utmost, because our residents, without the residents, we wouldn't have a mayor, we wouldn't have a city council. So I want to work hand in hand to represent all of our residents in the city of Harker Heights. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sir?
Could you repeat the question again, please?
Absolutely. What are your plans to lead the council and be the face of the city of Harker Heights? How will you use your leadership style to engage with citizens and local businesses?
Thank you. First of all, it's very important to lead by example. You know, as a leader, it's something I've learned over the course of my career in the military. Also, in my local community, I was a community leader out there helping them. And then on my time on the council, you know, I had opportunities to learn from my peers, also learn from former mayors across our city on how they engaged with issues. But it's so important, you know, one, to listen, to work with the staff. As the mayor, I will engage directly with the staff to make sure that the staff provides the council with all the informed information they need to make the decisions for our community. You know, as the mayor, you only vote if there's ever a tie, and very rarely is there ever a tie. I've had the pleasure of being on twice now in this last cycle here where we've had the mayor get to vote, but it's very rarely does that happen. But you are the face of Harker Heights. When you go out and engage with the local communities, the military, with Fort Hood, anything you do in the community, they look at you as the leader for the community, and you represent the community in what you do. So it's very important that you always keep that in mind. As far as my leadership style, I'm very approachable. I will listen to everybody. You know, I may not agree with you, but I'll let you know. We're just going to agree to disagree on a certain matter, but we all care deeply for our community. As I said, I love our community and what we do. You know, going from council member to mayor, it's a $20 raise. You know, obviously we're not doing this for the money. We're doing this because we care about our community. I mean, that barely pays for my gas in my monster truck. So, but I really do care about what I do in our community. I want to see Harker Heights successful, so it's great for all citizens that are living here. You know, I hate that we have this north and south divide. There should be no divide. It should be one Harker Heights. We're all here in it together, just like we are in the military here.
All right, thank you. And third question, do you believe the city tax rate needs adjusting? And what is your assessment of the sales tax revenues and benefits of the hotel motel tax? Dr. Jones.
That's a serious question, and one in which I probably only have half the answer. Does it need to be adjusted? No, I don't think so. Can we survive as it is? I believe we can, if we're all working together for the same cause. And what's the second part of that question?
And then it is, what is your assessment of the sales tax revenues and benefits of the hotel motel tax?
I really hate to say this, but I don't know anything about the motel hotel tax. Will I find out about it? Absolutely.
All right, thank you, sir. Mrs. Fontaine.
Yes, sir. It's right now we're in a position that if we do make slight adjustments is to offset our development and our infrastructure and make sure that we're able to take care of our community. I would say as far as the hotel motel tax, it's a great benefit to our city that allows us to do things that need to be done, whether it's the improvement of our Comanche Gap Park, something that we've been working on to try to get to fruition. That's something that we want to take care of, and we are truly working on that project. I think it's going to be a great project when Comanche Park gets built, because that's going to bring a revenue stream for us, and we're looking forward to seeing that come to fruition. So I think it's a great asset and it's a great tool that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Our city tax rate, I'm happy to state, under my term, that the 2 terms that I've been on the council has gone down. We have lowered the tax rate down to 58 cents. So last year alone, while I was on the council, we lowered it just over 7 cents across the board. That's a huge drop. That's the largest drop in Harker Heights history right there. Yeah, the property values did go up, But if you individually go out and look at your own property taxes for just the city portion of it, I challenge you, go out and look at what you paid the previous year versus this last year. Your city taxes went down based on what we did on the council. So that's great news that we're able to continue to fund the programs that we need for city services, but also be able to lower the tax rate to help out citizens across our community. For the sales tax revenues from hotel motel, as many of you probably don't know, it's a very restrictive fund. We just can't spend it how we want. You know, one of the things that Ms. Fontaine brought up was the Comanche Gap Park. That's one of the things we can spend it on. That's a legal thing. One of the big opportunities that we use every year is our Food, Wine, and Brew Festival. We use money from that hotel motel tax in order to fund that activity, which is a great event across our community that brings in people here to come make Harker Heights a destination and shop and spend money here. They stay in our hotels. Speaking of hotels, the New Hampton Inn is coming online here. They say July. Don't hold your breath. It might be August, but that's another great spot that's going to be, you know, a bright spot here in Central Texas for our community to bring events here, to have people that will come and stay in our city and generate money for the hotel motel fund. So that's more opportunities we're able to do with the music-friendly events with the chamber that brings people in. Also looking at bass fishing tournaments. Those are things that we're looking at. We can spend those monies on to make Harker Heights a destination. That's what we want to be able to do.
Thank you. Okay, so after such a tough question, I'm going to throw a fourth one in here, and Gina's going to look at me like I'm crazy. But and so we'll just give a shorter time on this. Who is your favorite superhero and why? Dr. Jones.
Mighty Mouse. Because he has the ability to accomplish what other folks can't.
Very good. Thank you, sir. This is Fontaine.
Well, look at the hair. Storm, of course. I like the elements, I like the weather, and I just think that we need rain right now so that our lakes could get full again, so you could have that bass tournament that you want to have. And we want to make sure that when we want it to be hot, it's hot, and when we want it to be cold, it's cold. So yeah, I go with Storm.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to go with Captain America. You got to go with the red, white, and blue. You can never go wrong. He's there for us, tried and true. So Captain America is my man.
All right, very good. Well, thank y'all. All right, so each candidate will have 1 minute for closing statements, and we'll reverse the order. So, Mr. Blomquist, you get to go first, sir.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure coming here today to be able to talk to you for this short amount of time and what we want to try to do for our city. You know, we talked a little bit about the veterans tax exemption. That's number one. Infrastructure needs, that's definitely what we need to work on. We've had 2 major winter storms, and our roads, you know, we need to make these needed repairs because they just get worse with time. Population growth, we talked about that. We need to continue growing city services across the board. That's not only for fire and police, but everything across our city, because as we get more and more people, there's more services that are needed, so we need to continue to grow that. So I want to thank this opportunity again for you coming here. We want to keep our city the bright star of Central Texas for all citizens, and I want to ask you to come out and vote for Michael Blomquist on May 6th. Early voting starts on April 24th, so please come out and vote for Michael, and I will be very proud and do you right as your next mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Mrs. Fontaine.
Yes, it really has been an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today. I've really enjoyed being here and hearing what everybody had to say. I myself have lived here for the past 23 years. I think this is a great city. I know that we're under attack. We have liberals that want to reach our cities and want to change the way of life. We built this city, like Mr. Aycock said, he was here from the beginning. It's been 63 years. This is a safe place to live. I feel confident that our children will be able to go to school and they won't have to deal with a mass shooting. I want my daughter to come back with my grandkids to live here in Harker Heights because this is a great place. It has always been, and we will continue to be the rocking star of Central Texas, which is the bright star of Central Texas, because we set the standards here in our city and everybody else wants to be like Harker Heights. So with that being said, my name is Jacqueline Soriano Fontaine. I'm running to be your next mayor. Vote for me, like Michael said, on the 24th. or the 6th of May. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Jones.
Sometimes it's good to be last, but then on other times it's not, because you want to try and hold up what someone else said or tried to do. But it's been a pleasure. I have enjoyed this immensely. I want to work with the city, for the city. And together, I believe that we can make another step to make Harker Heights better. And that's what each of us are saying that we want to do. We want to see the city better. We want to see this thing of working together, the volition, and being able to say that's what it is.
Time. All right, thank you very much to our mayoral candidates for being here today and joining us.
Thank you.